From how you guys doing? I am James Hake. Are we live on YouTube? It's trying to connect. Fair. Got a fair connection going. It is Tuesday, April 5th, 2022 AD. Am I live on Odyssey? Am I live on Odyssey now? I think I am. It's Tuesday, April 5th, 2022, Anno Domini. That is the year of our Lord. And it's 9:01 a.m. here in Los Angeles, U.S. Pacific Daylight Time. Very nice. And guys, I am silly or a boomer, or I deviated from my normal way of doing things, and that's why I was having the problems yesterday, if you may recall, with my Restream chat. I wasn't able to see your chats in the Restream, but now I can. I can see the Facebook crew, I can see YouTube, purportedly I can see DLive, although I haven't seen a chat yet. I was logged into JLP's Restream. What in the world? I thought I was switching it back, but I switched it to the same thing. Duh. Sorry, kids, don't say duh, unless your parents let you. Anyway, guys, we're going to have a fun, should we have a loosey-goosey Tuesday show? I'm going to talk about war crimes. I'm also going to talk about being banned on Patreon, which has been like almost 3 weeks or something. Now I'm on subscribestar.com/The Hake Report. I will take your calls. If you'd like to call in, you're welcome to. And I will also talk about fake hate crimes. And maybe a touch on this shooting shooting in Sacramento. I'm laughing because the Twitter white haters, people who hate whites, the Joe Schmoes on Twitter who hate white people, got suckered yesterday by a false mugshot of one of the suspects in that Sacramento nasty shootout around 2 a.m. Sunday morning, allegedly by blacks, and so on and so forth. But anyway, guys, let's get right on with the duh is a little edgy show.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. La la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. You guys are cracking me up. No, I'm not laughing at just nothing or necessarily out of nervousness or whatever. Some people think I am. Perhaps at times, but I'm seeing in the live chat. I like to look at the live chat. It's a kind of integral to my show, honestly. Because I like the participation, and it's fun to interact, right? But Malkuth X asks, what's wrong with duh? And I feel like I remember getting in trouble for saying duh too many times as a kid. Maybe my mother or something like that. Because it's not nice. It's implying that the person to whom you're saying duh is stupid. And nobody's stupid. Don't say stupid, kids. Nobody's stupid. Except biblically, in the biblical sense of stupid, right? Man, Godson says, duh is a little edgy. John F says, don't say duh unless your parents let you. LOL. Ontologically stupid. I don't know what ontological means anymore. I haven't heard that word since I went to Pasadena City College. Speaking of the live chat, shout out to the Facebook crew. Wayne over there says, greetings from the UK. James telling the truth for the past 4 years. JLP telling the truth for the past 32 years. Absolutely fantastic. Well, thank you, Wayne. I appreciate that. Nice to see you. Hello. Greetings to Great Britain. And Britain shall be great again. Make Britain great again. Something like that. Let me get right into some of these stories. Let me talk about, actually, it's Tuesday, guys. Men's Forum is in 2 days, by the way. Excellent. They're a highlight of the month. I always say it, almost always, anytime I mention the Men's Forums. First Thursday of the month, 7 p.m. at Bond in Los Angeles. I say we, but that's Bond, right? That's JLP's nonprofit. I work there. I help put out church stuff and old God's Learning Channel episodes. But men's forums are always great. Men's forums for men only, first Thursday of the month. Women's forums are third Thursday of the month. Malkuth X asks, what's wrong with saying stupid? LO, white parents are weird. I think it was more my mother, but yeah, it's like you're big. Like if you get in too much of a habit of being so disrespectful to your siblings or cousins or whatever, then it's not a good attitude, right? It's not a good attitude to have like a habit of talking back to your mother, I guess. I used to get in trouble for talking back to my mother. Did you clean your room? No, did you? So, stuff like that. Anyway, let me tell you about these war crimes. It's ridiculous, in my opinion. I talked about this in Hake News today. Shall I cover it a little bit over again? In Hake News at the end of, what was that, hour 1 of the Jesse Lee Peterson show today. It was an excellent Jesse Lee Peterson show. Commie Nonsense Network said an increasing number of, and they use this, in my opinion, it's a buzzword, world leaders. Pardon me while I spit, but I'm not actually going to spit because this is not my studio to spit in. But they're calling sleazy Joe Biden a world leader and just these dumb liberal people. Sorry, kids, I said dumb. I say dumb too much, right? He's an enemy of America, Joe Biden. Total phony. They're accusing Russian forces of war crimes, another communist buzzword, in my opinion. I mean, granted, you can be more evil or less evil, even in war, right? And I will get to your calls, guys. Hang tight. Hang tight. And it's in response to shameless and disgusting propaganda images. I was looking at Fox News of supposedly in Bucha. Is that how it's pronounced? Bucha? That's some city. Is that one of the suburbs of Kiev? Shameless and disgusting propaganda video footage, right? Images of purportedly dead bodies, and they didn't blur them out at all because they're like fully clothed. It's cold over there, I gather, over in Ukraine, where Russia has been invading for the past few weeks because nobody wanted to work with Russia, and Russia is like, this is a problem for like more than 10 years, and Trump would have been able to keep things under control, but not Biden. Lame. But civilian casualties on the outskirts of Kiev. Is Bucha on the outskirts of Kiev? Am I pronouncing it right? I have no idea. Ukrainians' unchristian so-called president, Volodymyr Zelensky, who's been kissed up to and worshipped all throughout the Hollywood, the Grammys, the mainstream media, even Fox News, which I like. Faux news. I'm chuckling because Malkuth X is still on this. Dumb, stupid, dumb liberal. Anyway, yeah, Volodymyr Zelensky's been this like cult hero to people who they don't even know what he's about. He claims that civilian casualties may be much higher in other cities that were supposedly liberated from Russian control. Had they just left them to Russian control, I wonder whether the casualties would have been so high, Because you don't fight, you don't get killed for the most part, right? Anyway, Ukrainian officials claim 90% of the residential buildings in Mariupol were damaged or destroyed by the bombardment. Mariupol. And I show these pictures of this female deputy prime minister of Ukraine, Irina. I called her Irina _ Vereshchuk, because that's her IG, Irina _ Vereshchuk. There she is, looking all tough with this blue-eyed blonde with dark roots. I don't know if she's a natural blonde. I can't tell. Some people are dirty blondes, right? Meaning like, but that's a pretty bright blonde. I mean, I don't know. But she's posing with this camo and pads and body armor looking stuff. Big old jacket. I mean, granted, it is cold, right? And she's born in 1979, just a couple of years older than me, right? 42 or so, probably. 43. There she is, looking almost like Hillary Clinton, but prettier. Younger, anyway. Yeah, I'd say she's prettier. And there what is that, her son? Does she have like a son and a stepson, like a stepchild from a second marriage? Something like that. A child from a second marriage and a stepchild? I don't know. That's what I gathered from her Wikipedia because I looked her up, right? I'm like, a female prime minister? Irina, that sounds like a female name. Iryna. And by the way, I translated this caption in this IG post, and it reads, the one where she's posing with her, I guess that's a son, right? A young, like 13-plus-year-old boy, maybe 12, maybe 11, maybe 9. A lot of boys get tall in other countries. Or boys nowadays, or children nowadays look big because of all the hormones that they're consuming, maybe. These days, just being in Ukraine is not enough. You have to be at your workplace. Do your job calmly, support each other, and everything will be fine. Sounds like a stressed woman trying to give advice that she needs to take. I could be mistaken, but that's how I read it. That's how I read it. A female prime minister. She was saying an evacuation convoy that was heading into the besieged city of Mariupol. I don't think she's a Christian, by the way. She was a social activist before becoming like a mayor, first mayor of something. First woman mayor of some Ukrainian city. And now she's the deputy prime minister from this globo-homo-friendly Volodymyr Zelensky, who's not Christian, by the way. In fact, he's specifically unchristian. Some might say anti-Christian. I'm not sure. But there was a convoy heading into the city that was intercepted by, turned back by Russian forces, right? And it was this convoy to go pick up evacuees and then take them out, or what? I mean, it sounds like if there were bombardment going on in this city, it would not be wise for a convoy of evacuees to go toward that city, right? But I don't know. Complicating humanitarian efforts. Whatever. You're complicating humanitarian efforts by continuing to fight. How about that, Ukraine people, right? Now, they have the right to continue to fight, but we shouldn't have to be supporting them. They're not part of NATO, you know? But NATO is pretending like they're part of NATO or something, which is only making the problem worse, making it worse for the Ukrainians. But some of the Ukrainians want to fight. I respect that, I guess. But they want us to be helping them. This unchristian Volodymyr Zelensky speaks, or maybe he's already spoken to the evil United Nations Security Council this morning. I guess he already did, maybe, on the Bucha massacre. And they call it a massacre. That's Fox News' word for it. I saw it on their Chiron, right? Chiron, is that how you say it? The lower third? But I saw this far-left tweet from Reuters, and Reuters said that the Pentagon, that's the U.S. Department of Defense, they cannot independently confirm that those atrocities were real in Ukraine's city of Bucha. That's what an official said, according to the far-left globo-homo enemies of America, Reuters. Even Reuters cannot, and even the Pentagon cannot confirm that those were real. That all that footage over in Bucha. And maybe you haven't seen that footage, but I was watching Fox News yesterday, Faux News, and I talked about this yesterday on my Subscribe Star exclusives. Did you know that I have Subscribe Star exclusives now to my 0 supporters? Because I just got it back. I just got the ability to get supporters on Subscribe Star like yesterday or 2 days ago and didn't realize it. So I have no supporters, but you can go support me there. I had some supporters on Patreon, and I wasn't putting anything out on Patreon, but now I'm putting stuff out on Subscribe Star. Taking a little walk and just talking to the camera phone, talking to the people. But anyway, I was talking about that because I'm seeing all this footage of these dead bodies, and I'm like, we're supposed to... This feels like open, brazen, shameless, and disgusting propaganda. You know what I mean? Showing uncensored, purportedly dead bodies in the streets on cable news. Sounds like, looks and seems like, feels like it's an attempt to pull at the heartstrings of the women and the female-minded libs, female-minded males to make them more amenable to doing whatever the establishment wants us to do, or wants the American government and military and whatever else politicians to vote for. I was listening a few weeks ago to Azzmador, who knows history, who showed the crypto report I shall be on this Saturday, by the way. I will post it up on the hakereport.com/appearances. It's not there yet, but 7 p.m. Pacific time, guys. Odysee, odyssee.com/@Azzmador, Azzmador, where it'll be live. But he predicted weeks ago that they're just going to keep the fighting going. And I say they, I'm talking about America, NATO, Ukraine. Those people, those globo homo types, are going to keep the fighting going so that Russia keeps on having to fight, bombard, and then more civilians are going to get killed. And then they'll gather sob stories. They being the mainstream media and the phony politicians, for female public outrage. He didn't say female, but we all know. And female support for doing whatever the establishment wants to do. And it reminds me of this. Before I get to calls, guys, shall I tell you what it reminds me of? And then I'll get to calls and super chats, guys. Hang tight. I watched Cernovich's documentary called Hoaxed. Mike Cernovich, he's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, on the Fallen State. He hosted the Jesse Lee Peterson show a couple of days in the past. Did you know that he, too, has guest hosted the Jesse Lee Peterson show? Jesse Lee Peterson show. Just like I did, Chris and I co-hosted, Hassan guest hosted, Mike Cernovich has guest hosted. Anyway, he has spoken at the men's conferences, but he made this documentary called Hoaxed, and it was kind of very 2016, very 2017, about the fake news media. And he talked about how we being America, I guess, were hoaxed, willingly hoaxed, I guess, if you from the point of view of, if you consider the politicians, they were willingly hoaxed, right? Into a war by one Nariya testimony. I looked this up. I searched something to the effect of babies in incubators, Iraq war, and this Wikipedia page came up. Wikipedia is far left, but they're an online far-left liberal source, right? Crowdsourced source. The Nariya testimony was false testimony given before the United States Congressional Human Rights Caucus. Why does the United States have a Congressional Human Rights Caucus? Human rights is a communist buzzword. on October 10th, 1990, by a 15-year-old girl who was publicly identified at the time by her first name, Naraya, Nayyirah. And I have a picture of this girl. Little 15-year-old girl. Oh, how cute. She can't lie, can she? Testimony was widely publicized, cited numerous times by the United States senators and then President George H.W. Bush, for whom I told my mother to vote. Because I was told by my second grade teacher that he was like Bush. I mean, like Reagan. And I liked Reagan. But anyway, in their rationale to support Kuwait in the Gulf War. In 1992, 2 years later, roughly, it was revealed Naraya's last name was Al-Sabah. Something like that. She was the daughter of Saud Al-Sabah, the Kuwaiti ambassador to the United States. So it was this woman, this young lady, and I use the term loosely perhaps, this minor, came into the United States and acting like she told a story. She claimed that after the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait, she had witnessed Iraqi soldiers take babies out of incubators at a Kuwaiti hospital and leave the babies there to die. And I have The Great Lie of the First Gulf War, Aussie.com, a modern media company by Matt Nashed. A key inflection point to move the American public and Congress towards supporting the war in Iraq way back in 1990, was the gruesome 1990 testimony of a Kuwaiti girl named Naraya, who described how Iraqi troops killed 312 babies in incubators. Problem was, Naraya's story was made up. Made up. Huh? Take the incubators and leave the babies to die. What a mess. Threw them on the floor. Stuff like that. Initially corroborated by Amnesty International, by the way. Amnesty International is a fake human rights group, right? They're globalist, globo-homo-types, which is a British NGO, non-government organization. Published several independent reports about the killings, testimony from evacuees. Following the liberation of Kuwait, reporters were given access to the country. ABC report found patients, including premature babies, did die while many of Kuwait's nurses and doctors fled, but Iraqi troops almost certainly had not stolen hospital incubators and left hundreds of Kuwaiti babies to die. Almost certainly had not. Amnesty International reacted by issuing a correction. Oh, our bad. We supported a war. We're supposed to be a human rights organization. We supported a war. Or propaganda that pushed people into war. Executive Director John Healey subsequently accused the Bush administration of opportunistic manipulation of the international human rights movement. Maybe so. Who knows? He might be right. Maybe there shouldn't be an international so-called human rights movement. Female-minded people. A female mind will get you into war. Just look at Will Smith. Am I right? I'm not on Odysee? You're right. I was asking no, supposedly I am. Let me just see. Refresh. Maybe I need to reset. Man, you're right. Huh. Thank you for the tip on that. I wonder if I should turn it off and turn it on again. What a mess. Thank you for the alert on that. Pardon me while I have this strange interlude, which is a line from somewhere. Turn it back on. I turned it off. I turned it back on. Sending data. We'll see if it goes. Anyway, it reminded me of that because I'm not saying that the Bucha thing is fake, but it's... So what? You know? Still not our problem. Anyway, let me get to Bobby in Texas. He's on the line. Bobby, how are you doing? Appreciate you hanging in there.
I'm doing well, man. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing fine, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, so I caught your debate this weekend. I thought you did a pretty good job, man.
I appreciate that. You're referring to my debate, Is the Great Reset Real? And I debated on Modern Day Debate. And I debated this young woman named Stardust. Cool. So you liked it, huh?
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I think we can both agree it's not your wheelhouse, one of your wheelhouse subjects.
True.
I kind of just thought I'd give you like maybe some ideas, like when you get in those types of arguments, maybe not allow them to force you to the question all the time. Like she seemed like she wasn't answering any questions. She was only trying to force you to defend that and rather than her putting her to the question of how she can prove that it's not.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose so.
I could have obviously with. Go ahead.
No, I suppose I could have pressed her on the questions that I did ask her. Like, are you really serious that you don't know that these huge corporations have major influence on, like, the direction of America and stuff like that? I mean, I did say that, but she really didn't. You're right. She was really not engaging in anything.
Right. She was just kind of putting you to this question to try and make you prove, a negative. It's like, how are you supposed to prove, I don't have proof. Nobody has, we weren't at this meeting. We aren't a part of it,
Yeah.
But it's like the fact that you believe that the richest people in the world get together and decide things for, us plebes, that, we're quacks, we're kooks, we're conspiracy theorists for this, idea that all these rich people might have, ulterior motives involved in stuff like that.
Yeah.
And to just carry it as, it's just a book. Well, I mean, obviously this guy has ideas. He's the head of the, whether that book contains, everything he wants to do, or even if that isn't, still the fact remains that, this is the kind of thought process that's in this guy's head. Right.
And there's a whole lot of major companies supporting him, and something that Nick, the anchor baby, brought up that I was able to pass along at the very end was that they bragged that they have people in major positions in major governments around the world, including like Canada's, I think like the deputy prime minister or whatever, and elsewhere. So
she acts like these governments aren't co-opting. It's like, please give me a break. Look at what COVID did and how much co-opting there was throughout the entire planet due to COVID.
Right.
It's like they obviously worked together, and obviously those big rich people got even richer throughout the process of this, of the scamdemic, where they basically printed money for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
While the rest of the people got poorer, this small percent of people got far richer.
Yeah, that's true.
And then she comes in with this, pre-prepared, copy and pasted opening statement and closing statement. It's like, do you even have one original thought in your head?
I know.
You're just going to come out and read some propaganda and call that an opening. That was the most, I think, the worst part of it is like so kind of disrespectful of the debate. It's like, you don't see anyone on any debate come out and read something like pre-prepared for the argument. Here's some thing I've copied and I wrote Hake's name in the place of something else.
I know. I've seen people read their opening statements, and I've written stuff and read a little bit, but I try to also keep it a little spontaneous. But it's not as though she had really much details to...
it was like a short paragraph that she just like kind of busted out.
Right. It was just precious little details that anybody could have memorized, and it wasn't as though she had a whole lot of information to share that she was debunking or something,
Yeah, and I thought you did a pretty good job. I mean, for, not being one of your powerhouse subjects, like I think you do a lot better with some of the stuff that you're more privy on, like the knowledge of. But I thought with what you had to work with, I thought you did really well.
Well, I appreciate that, man, because I know that this was something that you cared about, that you called in specifically about earlier in the day, and that helped me out. And I feel like a lot of you guys know more about this subject than I do.
I mean, I don't consider myself an expert, but I do believe, that definitely these people are, they're working together. Like whether it's, in the form of what we may be told by the, the media and whatnot, but, it may not be as big a conspiracy as even I believe it is, but there's definitely co-opting going on. It's not out of the realm to think that these ultra rich people might be, working stuff out to get richer.
Yeah, that too. And it's more than just richness. It's something that I brought up was it's like the ego. A point that JLP made during the scamdemic was that these people get an ego rise out of seeing people put on masks after they institute their little mask mandates, whether they're local or statewide or national.
They've already got the money. Now they want that control. They want that, that
it's
power
the pride.
over. Like, that's more important to them now than even the money is. Like, they have the money.
Yeah, it's like a false religion to them. They want to spread their false religion. And it's specifically anti-Christian, anti-white, anti-men, it's the opposite of what's right. But it's so misguided that they pretend that they are for what's right. That's the female mindset, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And just to speak on your topic just a second ago, the Boca, quote-unquote, massacre.
Is that how it's pronounced, Boca?
I don't know. I have no clue. I just read it. That's how I read it.
Okay.
But Russia came out and, completely, totally denied that. They claimed that all of their military personnel was out of that region on March 30th. And they said 4 days, later, these reports come out and the bodies hadn't even stiffened after they had been gone for so many days, and the bodies weren't stiff from, rigor mortis. The blood was still, I believe they were showing liquid type blood rather than dried, crusted blood. They said that they blamed it on what's the Nazi group,
the Azov regiment or whatever.
Yeah, they claim that the Azov regiment came in and caused this, and then they're just playing it up to publicize it as a Russian attack. But Russia came out and they have no proof. There's no proof of any of it. It's just what Ukraine has said and claimed.
Yeah, that's true.
But they said that they had the entire time that they held the region that no citizens were harmed. They were of course, I'm not going to simp for Russia. Who knows, the truth. But
right.
I'm just saying, I don't trust anything. I don't trust anything that I hear from Ukraine or from, the media out there.
Right.
I feel like these people have a reason, they have a reason for telling these stories and keeping us involved. CNN, all these news companies basically were in the toilet. Nobody was watching it. And now their ratings have, I think, doubled or at least doubled. I think even tripled in a lot of cases. So, I mean, there's a lot of money, ad revenue coming in based on this. It's something that, keeps people involved.
That's so true.
I think they have a lot of reason to keep this stuff on the subject and to push this propaganda of, Russia is doing, war crimes, but so it could go either way.
Yeah, totally. That's a point that Mike Cernovich, whom I referenced, has made in the past, is that you see war and images of war make for big business for the media, because they get to show these sensational images and sensational stories and because everybody's bored of the China virus, honestly.
Right.
They wore that thing out. Although I would not be surprised if it came back. They're trying to say that it's coming back, and
they don't
who knows? It may well be, but they overhyped that.
Hunter's laptop. So.
Oh yeah, I know.
They don't want to talk about that, and they don't want to talk about Hillary spying on Trump in the election. They don't want to talk about, Trump's lawsuit versus these, all these big Democrat people. They want to, they don't want to report that. So it's pointless for that. That's not even a story for them.
Yeah.
So they want to just keep you on something else, and something that builds their ratings and puts money in, in their coffers, which they had been, I believe, in desperate need of.
Yeah, that's true. I think you're right about that, man.
But man, yeah, I appreciate your time, buddy. Good to see you. I'll look forward to your. You have a debate this Friday or Thursday?
No debates planned for Thursday or Friday, but I will appear, not in a debate necessarily, but I will be interviewed on Azzmador's show.
What was the one they were publicizing on the debate you had with Stardust?
Stardust? That was the one. That was...
So weren't they talking, wasn't he talking about you having another debate? Did you have 2 debates this weekend?
No, he might have said James, but he meant James Kuntz, I think. James Kuntz is the guy who runs Modern Day Debate, and Kuntz has been out, but he has had a guest host moderating my debate. And so he's when he said James, you probably thought James Hake, but no, it's the Modern Day Debate appearances.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So,
right on, man. Well, yeah, it was good to talk to you, bud.
Yeah.
Appreciate your show, man.
Thank you, man. Take care, Bobby.
Later.
Bye. Okay, so guys, I'm trying to get Odysee going. odyssee.com/@thehake report. We'll see what happens. It's trying to go. It says starting soon. I don't know. Should I turn it off and on one more time? What a mess. Anyway, what is Azzmador's channel, asks Topher Toke. Azzmador's channel is on Odysee, odyssee.com/@ the @ sign, you know, the A with the circle around it. It's a slash and an @ sign. odyssee.com/@ Azzmador. A-Z-Z is how you spell it. A-Z-Z, Azzmador. M-A-D-O-R. Azzmador. A-Z-Z-M-A-D-O-R. So, what a mess. What a mess. I do see Brandon M in the chat. 2 currently waiting. Shall I turn it off and on one more time? So I don't like stuff not to be working. Yesterday, I didn't have the Restream chat working, but what I had to do, and I told you at the beginning of this stream, was I had to log into my real Odysee, a Restream chat. So it was my fault that it wasn't working. So hopefully it's not my fault that the Odysee channel is not working. Anyway, let me do some super chats. We got to the show must go on, right? Hake's wingman, Bibby42, with the super chat on streamlabs.com/the Hake report states, Hake, I won't call anybody out, but you weren't wrong about the snakes. I've seen some recently, some snakes, in different channels, and it's a bit disappointing and sad, but a sobering reminder that no man is good. Sneaky snakes be sneaking, but we see you. Yeah, that's right. Hake's wingman, Bibby42. Indeed, snakes everywhere. They smile in your face. Hi, James. All the time, they want to take your place, the backstabbers. That's a song by, Four Tops, I think. I learned about it on, Okay, it started. Yeah! I learned that on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. Yes! I'm live on Odysee, odyssee.com/@ the Hake report. And Azzmador states with a super chat, glad you're up on Odysee, James. Your YouTube mods should be looking out for you. People were trying to tell you about Odysee not working, and they should have made sure you saw that. Well, thank you, Azzmador. I did so happen to see eventually somebody in the chat saying that. And when I'm looking at Restream chat, if somebody tags me, I don't see Hake being highlighted like when you're on the YouTube chat. So, but yeah, mods, look out for Hake. Thank you, man. Thank you, mods. Men, males. Appreciate that. Azzmador. Stephen from UK gave a super chat and stated or asked, is there a new album starting today? Loved the last 2 albums and really glad you played the last track, even if it was 20 minutes long. Well, at one point I said it was 27 minutes. And then I said it was 21 minutes. Turns out I think it was 24 minutes long. Thank you guys for bearing with me through that river of transfiguration, perhaps a devilish song, but I read the Bible through it from Matthew chapters 3 and 4 at the end and Matthew chapter 17 at the beginning of the that last song by that the Six Organs of Admittance band playing in the album The Sun Awakens. Yes, I do have another album starting today. I'll tell you about it. I think you may enjoy it, perhaps, if you liked the last stuff. Yeah, and the last album that I played was The Sun Awakens by Six Organs of Admittance, 2006, Drag City Records. And prior to that, I believe that I played Huntington's Christian band, Ramones clones. They sound a lot like I guess they're the pop punk or they just punk band Ramones, except Christian. And that album was Plastic Surgery. I liked that too. Thank you, Stephen UK. Very cool. Hake's wingman, Bibby42, says with another super chat, Hake, us chat lords got your back. We are the paragon of truth and virtue, and will defend good and righteousness. Fear not, as we are many. Very nice, man. Thank you, Lord Bibby42. If ever somebody's trying to give me a tip that Odyssey is not working or such and such messed up, let me know. Or I got like boogers on my face or something like that. Please try to amplify that message so that I don't have a messed up show for you guys, right? Anyway, I appreciate it. Thank you guys. Let me tell you about some more stuff. Fake hate crimes. So dumb. Sorry, kids. Commie Nonsense Network. I tried to get to this in Hake News at the end of hour 2, but I did not have time. I must have been reading more slowly or something. Commie Nonsense Network reports a man, and they used the term loosely, trust me, CNN, a man who allegedly assaulted 7 Asian women in New York City in February's been indicted on multiple hate crime charges. Manhattan's new fat black DA, Alvin Bragg, B-R-A-G-G, his office announced this yesterday. I guess Manhattan, what is that? District attorney, like they have hate crime laws in the state of New York or whatever? What a mess. During the attacks, homeless male, and I have a photograph of this guy, it might be a selfie, Stephen Zajunk, Asian hate crime committer, allegedly, anti-Asian hate crime committer. So this guy looks kind of white. Look at him. Look at that face. Oh, he can't do anything. 28 years old, Stephen Zajonc, Z-A-J-O-N-C. What kind of last name is that? Allegedly injured 6 victims, resulting in bleeding, cuts, and bruises to their faces. Wow. One victim knocked unconscious and treated for a concussion, prosecutors said. So the one supposedly white guy, Stephen Louis Zajonc, pardon me if I'm butchering his name, Stephen with not a PH but with a V, is a white man from New York. Supposedly, right? White hate crime on Asian. And I looked up this guy's name. He looks like he might have a little Asian in him. But then again, I've been wrong about that before. You may recall one of my recent guests on the Hake Report. I've had a few guests, a couple of them recently. Dylan Burns, that liberal guy, 21 years old now, was 20 at the time that I interviewed him. I thought that he was part Asian, and I thought that he was like a little Asian guy, but it turns out he's this big white guy. And he totally looks like he might have some Asian eyes. But, you know, some people do look like that. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Caucasian. According to Conan Daly, am I pronouncing that correctly? C-O-N-A-N, Daly. He was homeless in Hawaii, during the scamdemic in 2020, this guy, who allegedly, what did he do? Like, he had assaulted 7 Asian women, I guess, injuring 6. Homeless in Hawaii during the scamdemic. I think he was spraying, like, Glade, air freshener in a public bathroom. And then he was, like, cited. I say but he was cited for not wearing a mask. Liberal Hawaii, huh? So dumb. Oh, you're not wearing a mask. We're going to cite you. But this guy was homeless in Hawaii. He's from New York. Has spent some time in, like, Sarasota, Florida. And by the way, another interesting tidbit of information. This young man, show his face again. This young man, 28 years old. He's 28 now, right? This is 2022. Well, back in 2020, I guess he was 26 or so. His mother sought an injunction against him, which was what? A restraining order? In 2020 for, quote unquote, domestic violence. See, doesn't that look like he could have some Asian in him? Or he's one of those whites who's into Asian girls. But he allegedly assaulted his own mother. Is his own mother Asian too? Or part? Huh. You know what this reminds me of? This young man who is a young male, 28 years old, not that young, who a couple of years ago was allegedly, women do make up accusations, but filed domestic violence injunction against him, perhaps unsuccessfully. And then he went and was homeless in Hawaii, or one happened before the other, I guess, assume. I don't know. He is squinting, says Severio Jones. Yeah, maybe. He got a little Asian, says Germanic Spaniard. He seems nice. You know who else got hit with attacking his mother type of a situation? Was that James Alex Fields? You guys know the Charlottesville guy who was driving the Dodge Challenger or something like that? James Alex Fields, attack mother, blah, blah, blah. Man, James Alex Fields, sentenced to, like, life in prison. He allegedly killed Heather Heyer, the woman who was standing in the anti-racist, misguided activist woman, who was apparently with, alongside Black Lives Matter and Antifa in the middle of an alley street. And this guy, his car was being beaten on by the Antifa people. One Antifa professor waved him on with a AR-15. I don't know what that was about. I don't know if it was threateningly or unthreateningly. But allegedly he was either scared or angry and drove in, like, made a sharp turn and went in and plowed into the crowd and then backed up. Right as he plowed in and stopped, they were bashing in his back windshield, James Alex Fields. In this Charlottesville, August 2017, it was a mostly peaceful rally, and then until Antifa and Black Lives Matter showed up and attacked the whites. And this guy, I don't know if he was defending himself or if he retaliated after being attacked. He too, back in, let me see, James Alex Fields. See if I can get any information on this guy. Because I'm quite sure that he had problems with his mother. Grew up with his mother, Samantha Bloom, a paraplegic in Florence, Kentucky. His Bloom's parents died in a murder-suicide when she was 16, so she was kind of a messed up case, right? Bloom, the mother, right? Wow. Her father, I guess, murdered murdered her mother and then killed himself, allegedly, right? According to the story. But anyway, Fields' mother had said that James Alex Fields, had recently moved out on his own. Sounds similar to this story. Fields threatened his mother with violence on multiple occasions, according to Wikipedia. In November 2010, She locked herself in a bathroom, afraid of her son. Fields' mother reported to the police that he had threatened to beat her, took her phone, struck her in the head, and put his hands over her mouth as she told him to stop playing video games. In February 2011, Fields' mother reported to the police at 5 in the morning that he had not come home, said he was wearing a t-shirt and shorts. 2 hours later, she reported Fields was home and acting lethargic. In November 2011, Fields spat on his mother's face and threatened her, and a woman requested the police help Fields' mother to get him to a hospital for assessment, according to the call log, right? Mom is scared he's going to become violent here. He's arrested and held in juvenile detention. Another man with a single mother. Now, I don't know about this guy who allegedly attacked the Asian women and allegedly was domestically violent against his own mother. With this newer story, with this Asian hate crimes attack, and James Fields cited for hate crimes because he's posted on Facebook against Black Lives Matter. Give me a break, you know? So dumb, so wrong. It's an attack on whites. And so these whites who are the most vulnerable and messed up in the head, they get the extra clamp down on them. So wrong. Same thing with Dylan Roof, actually. They're going for the death penalty only because he targeted the blacks. Not because he committed murder, but because he targeted the blacks. Because he was so-called racist. And that was an evil woman who went after Dylan Roof. Dylan Storm Roof, you may recall, he shot up the church in one of the Carolinas, I want to say, because he found out that the mainstream media was lying about white racism, when in fact black-on-white crime was much more the norm, and rapes and all kinds of stuff. And so he turned radicalized because he was poorly raised, into drugs, and a mess, just like what JLP talks about with the blacks. Whites getting into these drugs, messed up mothers, messed up families. Father's not quite there for them. Adam Lanza, his father, the guy who shot up the school, his father had been out of his life for 2 years. Adam Lanza, who shot up the, what was that one up in Newtown, Connecticut? Weird-faced guy with a single mother. In his 20s. Frustrated, killed his mother and went to the school and killed some children and some adults. So interesting, huh? And James Fields tried to go into the army, and I think this guy tried to go into the army too, this guy who attacked the Asians recently. Allegedly, right? And he's being charged with hate crimes. So dumb. These people aren't about understanding. The liberals, you know, who come up with these hate crimes things, they're about clamping down on the whites for power. So sick. Fields entered the army and then was released due to a failure to meet training standards. James Alex Fields. Pray for James Alex Fields. Pray for Dylan Roof. Pray for Adam Lanza is dead, so you can't pray for him. He's dead. I think he killed himself. What a mess, huh? How old would he have been? How old was James Alex Fields when he did this? When he allegedly did these things to his mother. I'm just curious. James Alex Fields Jr. Man. Fields' age. Let's see here. Wow, he was 20 years old back in 2017. So he would have been like a 12 and 13-year-old and maybe 14-year-old when he attacked his mother and she was scared of him. Reminds me of, you know who else was 12 years old? That black kid who looked like he was 21 years old. Big, tall, heavy. And they showed a picture of him looking like a little boy who had a gun in a fake gun, a pellet gun or whatever, in his waistband. And he was shot in like Cincinnati, Ohio. That kid, the cops shot him. They thought he was 21. Oh, it's racism. They're overestimating the age of the black youth. When they're all tall, man, Tamir Rice. Another 12-year-old, poor innocent soul. But shouldn't have been messing around like that. Maybe if he had a father, he would have had some sense not to be fooling around and waving a realistic-looking pellet gun at people. What else is there to say about this incident? Okay. The far-left commie nonsense network CNN says hate crimes against Asians increased so much during the China virus scamdemic, or so it was hyped, that the NYPD, the New York Police Department, created an Asian hate crime task force. That sounds like politics. They're responding to politics. That's not responding to the actual crimes. You know what I mean? I'm shaking my head. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office said they had 27 open cases of anti-Asian crime, supposedly, right? The NYPD's recorded 158 incidents of hate crimes against Asians between March of 2020 and December of 2021. It's never ending. It's never ending. It's never ending. And you know what else is never ending? Let's move on. Shall we move on? Yeah, let me tell you this quick. In the last few minutes of this top of the hour, before I introduce a new album, Commie Nonsense Network, the never-ending China virus manufactured crisis. Is it coming back, guys? The Senate reached a bipartisan, meaning evil, deal to provide an additional $10 billion in China virus assistance, COVID-19, they call it. While this is less than half of what the White House originally had requested, so-called White House, white on the outside, black on the inside, dark black, just evil. It would allow the Biden administration, to purchase more vaccines, maintain testing capacity, and continue ongoing research. But it does not include $5 billion for global China virus aid, as if we need to help the world. Nor would it replenish the program that pays for testing, treating, and vaccinating the uninsured. As for how it will be paid for, the deal would utilize, which is another word for use, unspent funds from the Democrats' $1.9 trillion China virus relief package, enacted in March of last year. Wow. Separately, the CDC's scared female director, Rochelle Walensky, not a Christian, in fact, very unchristian, announced a sweeping review of the nation's lead public health agency yesterday to evaluate its structure, systems, and processes. Oh, yeah, like she's trustworthy to have somebody conduct a review. You know, they're going to review it in SJW terms. So lame. So lame. Anyway, you guys can call in 888-775-3773. I'm wearing a t-shirt that has nothing special on it today. It's blank. I haven't worn this t-shirt in a long time because I have felt in the past that it's too ratty to wear, but I actually really like it. It's brown, it's plain, and I got it at an outlet on the way home from Vegas one time. I like to go to Vegas. I think it's Banana Republic. So anyway, we are at the top of the hour here, guys. I will get to perhaps a little more on the Russia mess. And a little bit about this black mass shooting suspect up in Sacramento. There's two of them now. They're brothers. One of them was pretty badly injured, and Smiley. What a name. Nice name. I actually like that name. Shout out to Smiley. Although I don't condone you participating in a mass shooting. So I'll cover those things, guys, and your calls, 888-775-3773. And I will be checking for your super chats, guys. But let's get to some music, shall we? This is 6 Organs of Admittance from the album Shelter from the Ash is the name of this album. And I believe it's 2007 on Drag City Records. So it's the same band that I've been playing all this week and last week. Hope you enjoy it. This is track 1, Alone with the Alone. I think you might, some of you guys might enjoy it. Alone with the Alone by 6 Organs of Admittance. Cover your ears, you musical Philistines, or grin and bear it, and I'll talk you through it after a couple of minutes here. Hang tight for the rest of hour 2. Nice. Isn't this nice? Cult leader Hake. More satanic chanting, says Lord Luka Music. Alone with the alone. Occult imagery. I'm offended, says Tim Scott, but he's laughing. And winking an upside down smile. Or upside down face. Sorry, Hake, I'm being asked. Oh, no worries, Miklo. No worries, Miklo. What you guys think of this? Where did Joel Friday go? Endless guitar noodling. Pagan music. Yeah, it might be. Is that Ginger? Yes, I think that's a photograph of Ginger on the back cover of this album. This track is entitled Alone with the Alone. Ben Chastney is the main guy behind 6 Organs of Admittance. Lord H. Sizzle says, Lord Bibby 42, yeah, I don't know what happened recently. Hake must have bumped his head. Now he's back to his same old poor taste in music self again. What do you mean? This is pretty good. Music taste matches the shirt. This is John Friedrich. What do you mean, brown? Brown is in awesome? But anyway, Yes. So to answer Stephen from UK's question, yes, that was the start of the new album, Shelter from the Ash, by 6 Organs of Admittance. Thank you guys for bearing with me through that. 6 Organs is amazing. They sound a lot like Breathing Flowers. You would love Breathing Flowers in Expo 70, says T.T. Jones. It's a bit boring, says Pawn Poker. Fair enough. Fair enough. Brown is in the color of poop. Hage. Hake. Well, thank you, DJ On Paw. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to speculate on what he might mean. Thank you guys for bearing with me through that. Beautiful music, in my opinion. I mean, they do get a little, perhaps, carried away with the shredding and stuff, you know? Maybe, perhaps. I'm not a big fan of most guitar solos. Never been. Unless they're really nice and catchy and you can, like, sing along to it or something. But, you know, it has a certain sound that's just, in general, this music is appealing to me. Maybe it's my pagan roots, white pagan roots. I don't know. The electric and acoustic guitar combo was pretty cool. Anyway, I'm getting carried away. Thank you guys for bearing with me through that. Very nice. Hey, look up a guy named Lil Tunji. Isn't that... Anyway. Isn't that, what's his name? The guy who said there is no racism? You know what? I wanted to talk about Reddit. Let me see if I can find this story before I get to Super Chats, guys. Maybe I should read Super Chats. Let me read Super Chats while I'm looking for this. Your girlfriend with a Super Chat on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report says there's basketball season, there's soccer/football season. Football is like Spanish for soccer. And there's football/COVID season, American football/COVID season. Game time for all the corrupt politicians. The biggest liars are awarded with an Emmy and are bailed out by the federal government after strangling their economy. Are you referring to that guy who got ousted by that black female attorney general from New York, Cuomo? Didn't Cuomo get an Emmy or something like that? Basketball season, soccer/football, and there's American football/COVID season. Game time for all the corrupt politicians. Biggest liars are awarded with an Emmy and bailed out by the federal government after strangling their economy. Yeah, it's the so-called Great Reset. What a mess. What a absolute mess. So wrong. There was this, oh no, let me keep on reading these super chats. Noah's Ark, Kansas says, happy birthday, Hake. Thank you. I appreciate it. It is my birthday. It's been my birthday since July. And I'm 40 now. Can you believe it? Your girlfriend says, Mr. James, was your hair redder when you were younger? I would say perhaps so. My cousins, their hair would turn more blonde because when they were like out in the sun a lot, especially as kids, you know, and they had like a little bit darker skin naturally than my family and me, especially me. But I think my hair may have been redder when I was younger. And also, my hair changes color depending on how clean it is or oily it is. When it's oily and I haven't washed it, it's like darker. When it's too clean, when it's like shampooed, it's all soft and lighter, maybe redder. Anyway, thank you for the questions. Okay, so let me briefly cover this brief little Reddit post. My husband is divorcing me because I have cancer. It was from True Off My Chest, and it's been deleted. But it was quite interesting because this young woman is pretty young, like 30s, 20s, I think, got cancer. And the husband is like, I didn't expect this when I married you. I'm out. And I laugh. It's so wrong. It's so messed up. But you'll find anything on Reddit because these people are so degenerate. And I gave some good advice, I thought. But it was funny because, like, they're all falling all over themselves feeling sorry for this woman. And she didn't realize that she was selfish and her husband was selfish in coming together. And the husband was not in sickness and in health, for richer or for poorer, for better or for worse, you know, till death do us part. That's not a marriage to these people anymore. Wash your hair, Hake. Football is Portuguese for soccer. That subreddit is full of fake stories, says Jog Frederick. Okay. So maybe this is a fake story. I don't know. But you could just picture it. I mean, just think about what would you do type of a situation. These people are selfish, phony, female-minded, following the crowd, hating white people, don't even know basic truth about crime statistics and things. For example, you know, you cite something about, oh, blacks are more likely to steal, you know, when they're like, oh, just because I'm black, I get looked at differently. And I'm like, well, blacks are more likely to steal. Like, source, bro? There's Reddit bros go, source? Like, they actually don't know what reality is. They live in their own false reality. Almost worse than Twitter. Maybe it is. But it's quite interesting. And you look at the selfishness of people, human nature, your own life, and oh my gosh. It's wrong how people do each other. Not good. And it's more selfish than you realize when push comes to shove. And you don't even know necessarily that you're selfish until the push comes to shove. I remember my sister realized how selfish she was after she got married. I shouldn't talk crap about her, but everybody is. And to me, it's very interesting. It reminds me of a little passage, speaking of when I was a kid, when I was growing up. My favorite Bible verse, perhaps even to this day. Are you supposed to have a favorite Bible verse? Or is that childish and egotistical?
To this day!
Thank you, Deontay Wilder. And lame. I think it's kind of lame, maybe, come to think of it. Oh, my best friend. Oh, my favorite Bible verse. Oh, my favorite color. Just ego. You want to be special because, oh, I'm different because my favorite color is green. But anyway, a Bible verse that I liked growing up, I was forced to memorize Bible verses as a kid. I was forced to learn how to read before kindergarten and learn Bible verses. You know, you would have it and you have the reference on the back or whatever. And one that I really liked, though, one that kind of rang true to me in my child head was, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." And that's the opening line of, what is that, Psalm 23 or something like that? It's a very famous psalm. And there are other translations that say, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in want." Meaning like, and I think that means something different from "I shall not want." But I liked "I shall not want" better. "I shall not be in want" sounds more like, oh, I'm not going to go hungry. I'm not going to be in need of food and shelter and stuff like that, which is, I guess it's true. It's kind of the same thing. But I like the "I shall not want" because I noticed as a kid that when I wanted a toy or whatever, I wanted to stay at my friend's house so I could play Nintendo or whatever, or my cousin's house because they had Nintendo. We didn't. We couldn't even watch TV. We couldn't even turn on the TV without permission, and we didn't even ask most of the time. I noticed that wanting stuff took away my peace. And I didn't like not having peace. So I liked Yeah, MTV didn't even really exist when I was a child. Maybe it did later. But I noticed that wanting took away my peace. And it's kind of the same thing as this alleged husband. Maybe it's a fake story, like somebody said, on this Reddit post, who allegedly left the wife, and maybe her personality changed too, let's be honest. Like, she's not telling the whole story, you know? But he had want, and he couldn't deal with his wanting because she couldn't fulfill what he wanted anymore because she had cancer. So selfish. Let me read my my post, because they all gave like, oh, forget him. He's worthless. Good riddance. All that stuff. And they're just feeding this woman to be like hateful of her husband who left her, right? And I said, any kids? Because she didn't mention, which maybe this is a fake person, right? You be faithful to him, whatever he does. This is my advice to her, right? So you can maintain or even regain your self-respect and peace. Because she was shattered after this, allegedly. Could be a fake story, but it got me, right? Isn't that nice advice? Be right to him no matter what he does to her, right? Allegedly. So you can have your self-respect and peace. You can get your dignity back. You had your faith in a non-relationship with a weak man, is what I said to her. This is a long time ago. A couple months ago. And what kind of woman are you then? That you fell for the phony guy like that, right? Don't talk about this anymore with anyone else, is what I recommended. Then you won't be wronging him, because she asked for advice. Then you won't be wronging him, even if he is out there wronging you. False anger and guilt will only worsen a bad disease, like cancer, if this woman really had cancer, or if it really was a woman, right? Isn't that nice advice? And then I cited a Bible verse. And this is another Bible verse I liked. The first question is, what kind of cancer? Yeah, true. This is a Bible verse that I cited at the end. I'm all bragging. A cheerful heart is good like a medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones. And I think that's from like Proverbs or something. And isn't that true? We all know this. How powerful the mind is to push you more into misery, even in your body, or to heal yourself, to heal up. The mind is crazy what it can do. Or not do, or the destruction that it can bring to yourself. A cheerful heart and the spirit, right? Cheerful heart is good like a medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones. Isn't that nice? What a beautiful Bible verse. And I have -6 on that. So just for me trying to give some friendly advice. I mean, I didn't kiss up to her ego, so I guess they don't take kindly to that over there on Reddit. I got -6. You know, you get upvotes and downvotes, so I don't know if I got any upvotes. I upvoted myself. So if I remove my upvote, what do I get? -7. Okay. So I got at least 7 people or more voting against me. I think you start with a 1, so that's 8 people voting against me. What a mess, huh? Or maybe even 9 if I'm counting mess right. Because then I would have 0. I don't know. Interesting, huh? The Bible says, it's like Jesse Lee Peterson's excellent, he has a great commercial that these guys made about love God along with nothing else, no one else. Put nothing else before him. Hake the troll. Why mad, bro? And I'm not even trolling. I'm not trying to get attention. I'm not. I was just like, I'm like, oh man, this is a crazy story. Let me, since she, purportedly she, was asking advice, let me give my best advice. The Bible says, anyway, yeah, put nothing else before. And then you won't be shaken when they go after your, imagine that. You're all into this person. You think that, oh, this person is so great. We are actually married. Now I can relax. I finally found the one. and then you get cancer. Oh, he's gone. I laugh, but that's terrible. But you shouldn't put your hope in anything like that, right? Hope in God alone. What a mess. Let me read a few chats here, guys. A few chats. Ragnar0321 says James Fields panicked. His car was under sustained attack by violent communists, Antifa, and Black Lives Matter, who were there to assault patriots and disrupt a permitted peaceful rally. That's true. His sentence is egregious and criminal. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if he panicked or not. I don't know what he said about himself. I know that some people were saying he panicked. A lot of the whites were saying he panicked. I never really paid attention to the case, so I don't know what he claimed about himself. But it's quite possible. And he did have anger, or at least at one point he did have anger, to be having his mother calling the cops on him. Anger from the mother. But yeah, the primary aggressors, the ones who started it, including the ones who started it with him, were indeed Antifa, BLM, and honestly, the phony politicians who were trying to cancel the rally, and whoever kept the police, whoever did not have the police separate the parties. When I'm at a rally, I've talked about this before. Any time that I've been at a rally, almost any time, the cops have the good sense, if they don't want something to happen, if they want to be able to have an excuse to shut it down, they won't separate the opposing parties, right? The protesters from the counter-protesters. But any time that I've been and the cops were actually doing their job, they stood in between. They made you stay on opposite sides of the street and whatever. And if anybody crossed the street, the cops would be like, nope, go back. Not so when they wanted to shut it down. And I talked about, the straight pride rally, the most recent one from this past year. Apparently, the powers that be, I say, because they know, they've been through this before, they know how it works. So my speculation, my conspiracy theory, is that the powers that be up in Modesto, California, when we participated at the straight pride rally, protesting also against Planned Parenthood up there in Modesto, California, beautiful place, in August, Men's History Month. We were there. Proud Boys were there to protect the good from the evil, the innocent from the uninnocent, from the attackers. And there was Black Lives Matter and Antifa and the radical LGBTIQ, which is the same as Black Lives Matter, who were there on the opposite side of the street protesting us. And then some people went across the street, which there was no police saying you can't do that. And they were behaving themselves, so it was no problem. And then Black Bloc Antifa shows up with mess. Proud Boys, they try to spray some people. The Proud Boys take a swing. And then the cops come in and arrest the Proud Boys. The Rally Boy Proud Boys. So wrong. And then they declared an unlawful assembly and shut our rally down after a half hour, rather than allow us to have our rally and keep the peace. So phony. And so, Modesto, we want to be LGBTIQ friendly. We don't want this straight pride rally happening every year. So we're going to leave things open so that a conflict can happen. Let the parties mix so that a conflict can happen, and blame the decent people, rather than hold Antifa, Black Lives Matter responsible, they are the troublemakers, not us. They are the troublemakers, not the Proud Boys. They are the evil ones. And so, too, are the city leadership. Same thing in Charlottesville. Even worse in Charlottesville. Charlottesville is a very liberal area, I say. I think it's not far from Washington, D.C., so that shows you how close to the swamp it is, So sick. And so they let the cops didn't stand in the way or keep the parties separated. So there was like a mob violence, fighting. And, you know, some of the whites were a little too eager to fight, maybe. But that pales in comparison to the attackers, because it was by far all independent media reports. People who aren't even on the side of the whites, just independent, honest investigative reporters. They said, and they knew, and so did Trump, that the aggressors were the alt-left, as Trump said it. So anyway, thank you, Ragnar0321. He may well have panicked. Pray for James Alex Fields. Another super chat, not a super chat, but another chat over there on Odysee, taking care of business, referring to this alleged woman who allegedly got cancer from the, and then it messed up her marriage, allegedly. Well, at least she won't have to deal with it for long. I mean, she has cancer. Well, I don't know. Don't people survive with cancer nowadays? It doesn't off them that fast, but oh, man. Male humor. Am I right? It's so real, so refreshing. Super chat from your girlfriend on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. That reminds me of when Newt Gingrich served his wife divorce papers a day after her cancer surgery, sometime around or before his primary run in 2011. See, even if that story is made up, Reddit story, it happens. It happens. Newt Gingrich. Isn't Newt Gingrich the same guy who, like, promotes... He's, like, tried to promote Christian or decency values, family values. Newt Gingrich. He can't help himself. Don't point that out, Severio. He can't help himself. You're rich and powerful. You have all this ability to get any woman. And you don't want to put up with dealing with a real marriage and rough times, your wife getting cancer and surgery and all that stuff. So you just move on. Next one. Terrible. I think I heard about that, your girlfriend. Yeah, it reminds me of that too. There's many such stories. People are selfish and kind of evil. And when push comes to shove, you don't know which... People sit in judgment against Putin and Donald Trump. These people live lives that you don't know the temptations and the pressures that they face and the circumstances that they're in, stuff that they're doing. I was talking on my subscribestar.com/The Hake Report. Exclusive post. I have 2 exclusive posts, guys. That... Like Putin, for example, he was in the KGB. Is he evil? Was he evil? He was raised in communist Russia or the USSR. And he was a capable, KGB guy. That's the Russian version of the CIA or the Soviet version of the CIA. And he's a communist and he compared communism to Christianity back in 2018, allegedly. And so maybe he's a bad guy. Maybe who knows? But it's like Trump was raised in liberal New York and working with all these liberals, reading the New York Slimes, and yet he still came out thinking independent-minded. And afterwards, like, he repented from being very pro-abortion and all that. And he came around, and he was pushed around with his not having a... his businesses suffered. They tried to go after his business in like 2011, 2012 when he was saying somewhat based things. And he's like, no, I'm not going to run. But then in 2016, he was ready. So maybe the same thing with Putin, or maybe Putin's a bad guy. I don't know. Putin. Vladimir Putin. Anyway. You guys can call in 888-775-3773. 888-775-3773. So, check out that. You know what, guys? Those of you who are supporting Hake through super chats or whatever, all the time, you know who you are. Your girlfriend, Lord Bibby 42, Azzmador, anybody who is interested. Just message me if you want the exclusive content, because I did post a couple of like exclusive videos on Subscribestar, and let me know what you think. Anybody who wants to join subscribestar.com/The Hake Report, because when I was on Patreon, I did not pay attention to my Patreon thing at all, and yet I had like supporters on there just supporting me just because they wanted to support me on a monthly basis. That's cool. And then Patreon banned me. So I'm like, oh, my Subscribestar, let me do it. And then I'm like, let me just see. How about I got a wild hair. I was on my walk yesterday afternoon, and I'm like, what if I just record a video right now and post that up on my Subscribestar? And so I, rambling Hake, walking Hake, rambling. And I'm just taking video of myself rambling, but trying to say something that might be interesting or useful to you. Oh my gosh. No, I'm not interested in married cancer patients. No, I was trying to give that purported lady good advice. So check it out, guys. Let me know what you think. Anyway, I wanted to cover this Twitter thing. You guys heard about it? Elon Musk. In my opinion, kind of like a dumb liberal guy. Sorry, kids. Elon Musk, South African. Haven't heard him breathe a word about the farm murders. Not that I pay any attention to stuff that he says, other than when he says something funny on Twitter. He's come to America. He's from South Africa. He's white. Is he a Boer? I don't know. He too looks sort of like that Asian look. Maybe those Dutch people. Maybe that guy who attacked the Asians was Dutch, because I know some Dutch people. Maybe they're like Dutch-Indonesian mix, but very little Indonesian, because the Dutch mix with the Indonesians, and then Indonesians have that Asian Pacific Islander look. Does Hake have a selfie stick? No, I do not. But anyway, this Elon Musk, richest man in the world, I guess, even richer than Jeff Bezos sometimes. He bought 9.2%, according to Commie Nonsense Network, 9.2% of the far-left publisher, not a platform, Twitter, which has banned so many people, including our great president, Donald J. Trump, while he was president. 9.2% of Twitter's stock. Elon Musk recently purchased it, according to Securities and Exchange Commission. Is Securities and Exchange Commission are they a legit organization of the government? SEC? It's according to an SEC filing yesterday. Made him the largest shareholder in the company. And that is worth like $2.9 billion. According to like Friday's closing deal, right? So this Elon Musk guy, who is behind Tesla, the electric car company that I think has been subsidized by the government a lot. I think. And he's also involved in SpaceX, which I think is also involved in the government, in bed with the government. SpaceX. But he's been posting stuff on Twitter. It's kind of trolly. I like that part of him. Musk didn't reveal the reason for the purchase, nor did he reveal any plans for the company. But he has been a high-profile critic of Twitter, far-left Twitter. Yeah, some people say that Andrew Torba, whose hustle I respect for, building up Gab, is not pleased. I don't know. But, we don't know what's going to happen with this. After the imaginary insurrection in January 6th, They call it an insurrection, according to the far-left female-run outlet, The Skim. Elon wrote that people don't like West Coast high tech, big tech, right, acting as the de facto arbiter of free speech. And he's right about that. He's trolled, supposedly, Twitter's new CEO, Parag Agrawal. Oh my gosh. I have to share with you this picture of Twitter's new CEO. I'm going to have to pull it into this folder. Because this guy is a piece of work. It's disgusting. And then I will get to calls, guys. Hang tight. Parag Agrawal. Let me see if I can find it. This picture of him. Is an American. Okay, now it's in the folder. I just dragged it in, hopefully. He's an American. But he was born where? In Ajmer, Rajasthan, India. Nationality, American. Yeah, okay. Born in 1984, and he looks like an Indian. So this guy from India is the head of Twitter. There's another guy from like India or something who is the head of Google, which is evil. You know that? Google is evil. That was what Alex Jones was shouting at the head of, who is Indian, head of Google. And these people are evil. This guy is 37 years old, younger than me. Probably quite smart and talented in certain ways, but he does not have good values, and I'll prove it to you. I will prove it. In November of 2021, oh no, not that. Let's see here. In an interview with MIT Technology Review in November of 2020, listen to this. When asked about freedom of speech, Agrawal said, quote, "Our role at Twitter is not to be bound by the First Amendment." I'm shaking my head. But our role is to serve a healthy public conversation. Makes me want to say bad words. And to focus less on thinking about free speech, but thinking about how the times have changed. Sorry kids, but I have to say, what a scumbag statement. How times have changed. Don't support freedom of speech. Don't think about the First Amendment. These people have power over the President of the United States. The President of the United States cannot himself, according to some lawsuit, block a person on Twitter who's trolling his personal Twitter account. He blocked somebody on Twitter, Donald J. Trump, on Real Donald Trump. He blocked somebody on Twitter. That person sued him in court and said, "Oh, I need to have access to reach my president." Like you can't reach him by other means, right? And so Trump was forced to unblock that person. But Twitter themselves blocked the President of the United States and his private Twitter account from tweeting and falsely alleging he supported an insurrection. So stupid, huh? And so Elon it doesn't take a base person to know that that's wrong. West Coast high tech acting as de facto arbiter of free speech. This guy doesn't even care about free speech. This Parag Agrawal. I'm streaming on Twitter, by the way. Nice. I liked it better when it was Periscope, though. Elon's caught trouble with the Security and Exchange Commission, SEC, over a 2018 tweet that he had funding secured to take Tesla private because it's a publicly traded company, I guess, and he wanted to take it private, maybe. And so Tesla's stock went down, and so this female judge said, and according to SEC, they said, "You're defrauding investors. You can't say stuff on Twitter that has that's material to the business. You have to get approval before you tweet something out like that," they said. And I don't know if that's true or false, but is the Security and Exchange Commission really for us, for we the people? I don't know. Anyway, he tweeted, "Do you want an edit button?" And I saw, a lot of you guys, Azzmador and others, whose show I'm going on soon, said, "No, we want freedom of speech back. We want our accounts back because so many whites and Christians and men have been banned. And some degenerates, too, have been banned. So wrong. Anyway, I will read more of your super chats, but let me get to a call or two, guys. Louie in Idaho is on the line. Louie, thank you for calling. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey.
You know, I heard it a long time ago about Elon Musk sending up a vehicle, a Tesla vehicle in outer space.
Yeah.
Do you believe that? Does anyone believe that?
I believe it. I think there was a photograph of it. It might have been photoshopped.
Well, that means a lot. There's also photographs of the moon landing, Hake. Okay?
I'm a
And
moon landing believer. Call me a normie.
Okay. I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry.
You're sorry for me?
I'm sorry for you, yeah.
I don't really care about the moon landing, though. Whatever.
Well, that means you don't care about being lied to.
You're coming in muffled. Stay close to your phone. The receiver next to your mouth.
You don't care about being lied to, Hake.
Not really, because that's a lie that doesn't matter. I don't think. And I don't believe it is a lie.
Earth is flat, Hake. Come on.
Earth is flat. Stay
Don't you
close to
believe
your
the Bible?
phone.
Don't you believe the Bible, Hake?
I generally believe the Bible, but the Bible doesn't really say anything about it.
The Bible says the four corners of the earth, the dome. Come on, Hake. Come on. Believe the Bible. Be a Christian. I'm Catholic.
The Bible doesn't.
I'm Catholic.
The Bible does not care whether you believe the earth is a ball or flat. There are more important things.
The Bible believes in the truth, Hake. Come on.
The Bible doesn't believe or care about anything because it's a book, first of all. But it was not written with the intent.
The Bible was written by God. It wasn't written by it was written by men from God.
Yeah,
right?
It was written by men who were inspired by God. And, and those men, nor does God. I have to assume that God has more important things, like your own heart, that you know yourself.
God is about truth. God is about love and truth. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. But
okay,
truth about the so-called flat Earth does not trump the truth about your own soul.
Don't mention Trump. Come on, man. I'm joking around.
But isn't your own soul and your own heart more important than whatever you?
No, I think the truth is most important. I want to know the truth. If I tell my wife, where you been, delivering Avon? And you come home with groceries, where have you been? And she tells me this or that. What is the truth? For example,
some stuff you're not going to be able to know, though. You have to be You have to be happy with not knowing.
Well, some things you got to believe because they're true. Because you know what? Read the Bible, Hake. Just read the Bible.
But how about knowing for yourself and repenting for yourself and all that stuff?
Well, I know for myself. The earth is flat. That's me.
Are you aware? Me. Okay, let's not cherry pick the Bible about the flat Earth. How about let's cherry pick the Bible about
cherry pick? What do you mean cherry pick?
Because you're cherry picking.
What are we cherry picking? The flat Earth, or the four corners, or the dome?
I have another cherry pick.
What are we cherry picking?
Let me cherry pick another verse that you may care about or not. Do not be drunk with wine, but be filled with the Spirit. Do not be given to drunkenness. What do you think about that verse?
Because I drink Hake. Is that why? Okay.
I'm bringing that up because you care about truth, right? Why don't you follow that truth?
Say it again.
Why don't you follow that truth? You brag about day drinking and stuff in the chat.
Well, what are you talking about? I'm silenced in chat, Hake.
Huh?
I've been silenced in chat. You know that.
Oh, you're banned? Oh, okay.
I've been banned for a while.
Well, okay. But in the past, you were bragging about day drinkers unite and stuff like that.
Day drinkers unite. That's
See,
what I say.
How come you're bragging about getting drunk when the Bible says do not be drunk?
I'm just saying unite and just say we're all.
No, you're just like the gays being gay pride, drunk pride.
Don't call me gay. Gay, don't call me.
I'm not calling you gay. I'm saying drunk pride. Are you drunk right now?
Probably.
So why do you care about the flat Earth truth, but you don't care about the truth of your own body and spirit?
What about my body? What about it, Hake?
Your body is supposedly the temple of the Holy Spirit, right? Or the temple of
You're
God.
changing the subject, Hake.
I'm not changing the subject. We're talking about the truth of the Bible that you pretend to care
I thought
about.
we were talking about flat Earth, Hake.
No, we're talking about the truth of the Bible. You said the Bible's true, and that's why you believe the Earth is flat. But somehow you don't.
Is a flat Earth book.
But
The Bible is a flat Earth
somehow
book.
you don't care about drunkenness because you can't control yourself.
I control myself every day.
You go control yourself as you get drunk in violation of what the Bible says that you pretend to care about.
I don't pretend to care about the Bible. The Bible is just words, Hake.
Oh, so you don't care about the Bible? You
Well,
don't
I
actually
believe
care about the
Bible.
truth.
Hake, I believe the Bible over the politicians. I believe the Bible over the scientists.
Does the Bible care more about you, your soul?
Hake, I have arguments with my father, who is a well-known scientist. Okay?
Does the Bible care more about you, your soul, or piddly facts about the earth and other people?
The Bible is just a bunch of pieces of paper.
Okay, how about God?
You know?
Does God care about you, your soul, or piddly facts about whether the earth is flat or round?
Oh, I think God loves me. God cares about me.
So wouldn't you
right?
say that he's wouldn't you say that he's
right?
giving you good
right,
advice?
Hake? God created me, right, Hake?
Right. Wouldn't you say that he gave you good advice? Do not be drunk with wine, but be filled with the Spirit?
Well, maybe the Spirit is the Spirit of wine.
What a mess.
You're laughing, but
because
you know
you're
what?
making excuses for not following this Bible
am
that you think
am I
you
really?
care about.
Well, his blood is wine, all right? He's wine. I'm
Lord.
Catholic, so.
Yeah. Well, I wish you well, Louis. I don't judge you for being drunk. It's just that it's silly to be all caught up in the shape of the earth.
You know, I say I love you. I love your channel. I love your meaning, your way of getting to people. You know what I mean?
Thanks, man. Yeah.
All right, so.
It's good to hear from you, Louis. Take care.
Well, keep me alive. Take care. Bye.
All right, bye. Pray for Louis. Pray for Louis. Give him a break, Hank. Oh, man. Oh, man. It's more important to me, your life. Luka in Indiana is on the line. How you doing, Luka? Thank you for calling. What's up?
Hake-a-mania. Hake-a-mania's running wild.
Indeed.
Yeah, that Louis, he gotta stop glorifying the booze.
Right, yeah.
You gotta treat your body as a sacred temple.
Right, we all gotta check ourselves. But that's what I was trying to encourage him to do, rather than point out the phony politicians, which they are phony, and be angry at the evil in the world, and then start believing stuff such as the flat earth without knowing. Anyway, nice to hear from you. It's been a little while, Luka.
Yeah, I thought I'd call because it seemed like not a lot of calls were coming in today. Kind of a slogan.
All right. So you've called in for mercy. You're like, oh, let me give him a mercy call. I feel sorry for him.
I will grace him with my conversation.
Well, I appreciate you calling in. What would you want to talk about?
I'm supposed to talk about Elon Musk.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like he's using the name Tesla, which I believe Tesla was a great man. He seemed to have very little ego, seemed to be like on a higher vibration, very loving and very, just no ego. He seemed to really pick up all this information from the stratosphere almost.
You're talking about Tesla? I mean, the Elon Musk?
Nikola Tesla.
Oh,
not
Nikola Tesla,
Elon.
the dead guy.
Yeah. So it's like, I wanted to believe Elon was a good man because he's using that name, and I believe Tesla was a good man. Well, as good as you can be, you know, no man is good. But I don't know about Elon himself. You know, I've seen good and bad things from him, so I guess better not to judge the man, but judge what he's doing, and it seems like he's trying to do some good, and it seems like he doesn't fall for all of the mainstream lies and all of that jazz.
Right.
So I guess he's all right. I would definitely trust him over a lot of the people that are attacking him.
Right. That's fair. You know, I appreciated when he spoke to Babylon Bee and said, you know, it's better than going on CNN. So that was nice. I appreciate his sort of independent spirit, if you will. But yeah, he does seem like I think he has some kids out of wedlock, and I don't know if he's really stopped with that type of... Maybe he has. Maybe he's settled down now. Is he married now? But, you know, he's just a worldly guy, but he's somewhat of a normal guy. So that part I do appreciate about him. I don't know much about Nikola Tesla, the guy who died in 1943. Serbian guy, huh? Serbian-American.
Yeah, you should look him up. He seemed to not be interested in women in a kind of way like you and Jesse are, where it's like he wasn't distracted by, you know, romance and just the way women kind of sidetrack men from accomplishing something great sometimes.
Women weaken the legs, as Mickey told Rocky. Women weaken the legs. Interesting. Did he end up marrying or having any children?
No, he died single. Apparently he was like in love with a pigeon, but I don't know if that was true.
Yikes, I wouldn't spread that rumor. He died at age 86. Interesting, man. Yeah, he was Austrian for a while, for the first few decades of his life, and then he became American for the last few decades of his life.
Yeah, and you got people like Thomas Edison, who, you know, he was more with the system, and he said, yeah, I'll sell out, I'll put my name on all these inventions that we bought off of Tesla. You know, he was all ego, and that's why history remembers Edison.
Oh.
We don't talk about Tesla as much because he didn't have that ego problem. He didn't want the glory. He just wanted to give his inventions to humanity as a gift. But then there's these evil people at the top who are like, no, we're going to buy out all these inventions. We're going to keep them for ourselves. We're only going to slowly let humanity have these inventions as we see fit. It's pretty bad.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Edison, I just remember seeing some cartoon and then hearing the childhood story of Thomas Edison perfecting the light bulb, right? Wasn't he the one who, like, did experiment after experiment after experiment after experiment after experiment to get the light bulb to, like, work or something like that?
Yeah, he was using an archaic way of doing things. Tesla had the advanced way. And, he was just a sellout. They were like, well, Tesla, how can we put a meter on these inventions of yours so we can charge people a monthly fee? And he's like, there is no meter. And Thomas Edison was like, I got your meter right here. So, you know, he's just another sellout, like most famous people, because the ego, they want attention.
Huh. You know, I wasn't around back then, and I really have not read a lot of history, nor have I retained a lot of history, so I don't know. But
yeah, I don't know for sure, but yeah, my dad was pretty into Nikola Tesla, and he told me a lot of things. Apparently one of his inventions was this like football-sized generator that could power your whole house. So if these inventions are real, I hope they're released to humanity soon, and I hope the people keeping them from humanity are brought to justice.
Interesting, man.
Yeah, shout out to all the lords in the chat.
Yeah.
Lording it up. When are you going to lord it up, Lord Hake?
I don't plan on doing that. I like how simple I don't know how long I'll last on YouTube. Maybe I will last. Maybe I will skate on through. But I like how just simple my name is, just H-A-K-E, Hake. I do wonder sometimes, you know, that's my last name. That's my family name. I wonder what my family thinks of Hake, the last name Hake, being used for the Hake Report, when I'm more radical than perhaps most of them. But radical means to the roots, back to the roots. That doesn't mean off in the outskirts, extreme. I don't think I'm actually extreme.
No, I think you're strong and you know how to stand on your own. Even if you stand alone, you know, you stand what's right. even if you have to stand alone.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. I appreciate the vote of confidence. Nice to hear from you. And it's nice to hear from you on Nick's stream. I've heard you calling into Nick's stream sometimes. Appreciate
I like
that.
the laid-backness of Nick's stream at night and his
So do I.
chill music in the background. Yeah, you always be tearing it up in the chats on the Nick stream. We all appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah,
have a good one.
I caught the beginning of Nick's stream this past Friday, but then I was like, I had to get ready for my debate. Anyway, take care, Luka.
Good talking to you, brother. Yeah, have a good one.
Okay, you too.
Later.
Bye. Okay, some super chats, guys. Generous super chat from Max Rex. Thank you, sir. By the way, if you guys who regularly support on these super chats, let me know. I'll send you I'll DM you or email you the link to my exclusive stuff, because you guys are already supporting me so much. I can't really ask you to support on Subscribestar too. If you want to, that's great, and then you will get it. But you can email me, you guys who support all the time. I know who you are. You know who you are. Max Rex with the super chat on Odyssey, odysee.com/@ the Hake Report says, Hake, when are you going to cut the sleeves off of that King of the Cage shirt, man? And can you guys make a shirt that says, do something, Matt Walsh, so that I can cut the sleeves off of it? Man, you can make your own shirt, because I don't know which show that would fit for do something, Matt Walsh. You should make it. If you make it, I will promote it. I'll promote it in my chat, Max Rex, because you can make your own Teespring store. And, you could be teespring.com/stores/Max Rex. Pick it up while you can. And it'll be do something, Matt Walsh, and I will promote it. But I don't see it, I don't talk about Matt Walsh. JLP doesn't talk about Matt Walsh. I have talked about him, but I don't know what I want him to do. So you do it. But thank you for the super chat, man. And I don't plan on cutting the sleeves off my King of the Cage shirt. I have 2 King of the Cage shirts. It's like cage fighting. It's MMA type stuff, mixed martial arts. A high school buddy of mine, one of my wrestling teammates, I was a wrestler back in freshman year of high school. And he was like state level good. And he was King of the Cage at one point. In King of the Cage, I went and saw him fight a couple of times. Saw him once. One time I went and it was canceled, but I got a t-shirt anyway. But yeah. Should I say his name? But I don't know if I want to. That could be like bad publicity for him. Actually, I think most of you guys. Should I say his name? Daniel El Leon Hernandez. Daniel Hernandez, talented guy. He has an MMA gym, I think, in like Monrovia or somewhere, Doherty. So check it out. I think maybe it's different since the China virus. John WX25 with the super chat says, watched your debate with that female. She played dumb at points to mock you. Change nothing. You have truth and knowledge on your side. White lib filth are the evil children of the serpent. Well, thank you, John WX25. And I'll try to keep paying attention, because I appreciate that the nice feedback. Max Rex says, I'm just kidding. Not going to wear a shirt with Matt Walsh on it. Well, thank you, Matt Walsh. Thank you, Max Rex. Sorry for confusing you for Matt Walsh. Anyway, guys, the rest of the callers, I cannot get to you. This has been the Hake Report. Appreciate the support. And catch you tomorrow, hopefully. Tomorrow is Wednesday. The next day is the men's forum. I always recommend it. Thank you, and take care.